A family discovers they are part of a secret society, but membership comes with unexpected responsibilities and dangers. It was a Tuesday evening, and the Harper family was gathered around the dinner table. The aroma of roasted chicken and mashed potatoes filled the air, but the atmosphere was far from peaceful. 16-year-old Mia was scrolling through her phone under the table, her broccoli untouched. 19-year-old Jake, home from college for the summer, was recounting a story about his latest misadventure with his roommates. 12-year-old Emma was doodling in her notebook, her braces glinting under the kitchen light. Their parents, Mark and Linda, were doing their best to keep the conversation flowing, but it was clear that everyone was in their own world. The doorbell rang. Who could that be? Linda asked, setting down her fork. I'll get it, Mark said, pushing back his chair. He returned moments later holding a thick cream-colored envelope sealed with a wax stamp. The symbol on the stamp was intricate, a tree with roots that twisted into a circle. What's that? Mia asked, finally looking up from her phone. Mark frowned as he examined the envelope. It's addressed to the Harper family. No return address. Open it, Dad, Emma said, her eyes wide with curiosity. Mark broke the seal and unfolded the parchment-like paper inside. He cleared his throat and began to read aloud. Dear Harper family, you are cordially invited to attend an initiation ceremony for the Order of the Eternal Roots, a society dedicated to preserving the legacy and secrets of your ancestors. Attendance is mandatory. Failure to appear will result in consequences. He paused, squinting at the paper. What the heck does that mean? Consequences? Probably just a scare tactic, Linda said, though her voice wavered slightly. It's probably some historical society trying to recruit members. You know, like the Daughters of the American Revolution or something. Yeah, but why us? Jake asked, his smirk fading. We're not exactly the secret society type, unless it's a society for people who binge-watch Netflix and argue about whose turn it is to take out the trash. The family laughed, but there was an uneasy tension in the air. The letter didn't feel like a joke. The wax seal, the formal language, the ominous warning, it all felt real. The ceremony was held the following Saturday at an old ivy-covered mansion on the outskirts of town. The Harpers arrived in their minivan, feeling wildly out of place among the other families dressed in formal attire. Are we supposed to bow or something? Mia whispered as they walked up the grand staircase. This feels like a scene from a bad horror movie. Inside, the mansion was even more intimidating. The walls were lined with portraits of stern-looking men and women, all of whom seemed to be staring directly at them. At the center of the room was a large ornate table with a single book resting on it. The cover was embossed with the same triangle symbol from the letter. A tall, imposing woman in a dark green gown stepped forward. Welcome, Harpers, she said, her voice echoing through the room. You are about to become part of a legacy that spans centuries. But know this. Membership in the Order of the Eternal Roots is not a privilege, it is a responsibility, and with it comes great danger. Danger? Emma squeaked, clutching her dad's arm. What kind of danger? The woman ignored her and gestured to the book. Each member of the Order is tasked with protecting a secretive secret that, if revealed, could change the course of history. You will be given your assignment tonight. But remember, the roots of the tree run deep, and not all secrets are meant to be uncovered. The family exchanged nervous glances. Even Jake, who usually had a sarcastic comment for everything, was silent. Later that night, the Harpers were given their first task, to retrieve an ancient artifact hidden in the basement of their own home. According to the Order, the artifact had been placed there by their great-grandfather, who had been a member of the society. Wait, so we've been living with some creepy artifact this whole time? Mia asked, her voice rising. What is it? A cursed necklace. A haunted painting. Let's just get this over with, Mark said, grabbing a flashlight. He was trying to stay calm, but his hands were shaking slightly. The basement was dark and damp, filled with boxes of old holiday decorations and forgotten furniture. After what felt like hours of searching, Emma suddenly shouted, I found it. She was holding a small, intricately carved wooden box. The family gathered around as Mark opened it, revealing a strange, glowing crystal. Whoa, Jake said, his eyes wide. That's not normal. As soon as he said it, the crystal began to pulse with light, and a low hum filled the room. The family froze, their faces illuminated by the eerie glow. Should we be worried? Mia asked, taking a step back. Before anyone could answer, the basement door slammed shut, and the lights went out. The family was plunged into darkness, the only light coming from the crystal. Okay, this is officially the worst family bonding activity ever, Jake muttered. Over the next few weeks, the Harpers learned more about the Order and their role in it. They discovered that the crystal was one of several artifacts that, when combined, could unlock a powerful and dangerous secret. Their job was to protect it from falling into the wrong hands. But as they delved deeper into the Order's history, they began to uncover secrets about their own family. They learned that their great-grandfather had been accused of betraying the Order, and that some members still believed the Harpers couldn't be trusted. Great, Mia said sarcastically. Not only are we in a secret society, but we're also the black sheep of it. The tension within the family grew. Mark and Linda argued over whether they should quit the Order, while Jake became obsessed with proving their family's loyalty. Emma, meanwhile, started having nightmares about the crystal. One night, as the family was arguing over dinner, there was a knock at the door. Standing on the porch was the tall woman from the initiation ceremony. "We have a problem," she said gravely. "The artifact you've been protecting has been stolen." The Harpers stared at her in shock. Mark asked, "We've kept it hidden." The woman's expression softened. "There's something you need to know. The artifact you have, it's a fake. The real one was moved years ago, after your great-grandfather's betrayal. We used your family as decoys to throw off anyone who might be looking for it." The room fell silent. The Harpers were too stunned to speak. "So, we've been risking our lives for nothing?" Mia finally asked, her voice trembling with anger. "Not for nothing," the woman said. "You've proven your loyalty. And now, the Order needs your help more than ever." The family exchanged looks. They were exhausted, frustrated, and more than a little angry. But they also knew they couldn't walk away, not now. "Fine," Mark said, sighing. "But if we're doing this, we're doing it as a family." And with that, the Harpers stepped deeper into the world of the Order, ready to face whatever dangers and secrets lay ahead. The next morning, the Harpers gathered in their living room, surrounded by stacks of old family photos, letters, and heirlooms. Eleanor had given them a starting point, a cryptic note found in their great-grandfather's journal. "The roots run deep, but the truth lies where the past and present meet." "That's it," Jake said, tossing the note onto the coffee table. "What does that even mean? Past and present meet? Is this some kind of riddle?" "Maybe it's a place," Emma suggested, her voice tentative, "like a museum or a library." Linda snapped her fingers. "The old clock tower downtown. It's been there for over a century, past and present, right?" Mark nodded. "It's worth a shot." The family piled into the minivan and drove to the clock tower, a historic landmark that had been in the town square for as long as anyone could remember. As they searched the area, Mia noticed something strange. A small, almost imperceptible carving of the Triandrut symbol on the base of the tower. "Guys, look at this," she called, running her fingers over the carving. "It's the same symbol from the Order." Jake knelt down to examine it. "There's something written here too. It's date, October 31st, 1923. Emma's eyes lit up. "That's Halloween. Maybe it's a clue about a costume or something." Mark frowned. "Or maybe it's a reference to something that happened on that date. We'll need to look it up." Back at home, the Harpers dug into local history archives. They discovered that on October 31st, 1923, there had been a massive fire at the town's old theater. The theater had been rebuilt, but the original building's foundation still existed beneath the new one. "Past and present meet," Linda murmured. "The old theater and the new one are literally built on top of each other." The family rushed to the theater, where they convinced the manager to let them explore the basement. It was dark and musty, filled with old props and forgotten set pieces. After what felt like hours of searching, Jake stumbled upon a hidden compartment in the wall. Inside was another clue, a map with a series of coordinates. "Coordinate," Mia said, pulling out her phone. "This is getting way too Indiana Jones for me." Mark studied the map. "These lead to the Harper family cemetery." The family exchanged uneasy glances. The cemetery was where their great-grandfather was buried. At the cemetery, the Harpers followed the coordinates to their great-grandfather's grave. The headstone was simple, with just his name and dates. But when they examined it closely, they noticed something odd. The Triandrut symbol was carved into the back of the stone. Emma pointed to a small, almost invisible button hidden among the roots. "What's this?" Before anyone could stop her, she pressed it. The ground beneath them rumbled, and a hidden compartment in the grave opened, revealing a small, ornate box. "No way," Jake whispered. "This is it. The real artifact." Mark carefully lifted the box and opened it. Inside was a crystal, identical to the fake one they'd been protecting, but this one pulsed with a faint, golden light. Eleanor, who had been quietly observing the entire time, stepped forward. "You've done it. The Order owes you a great debt." "But what now?" Linda asked. "We've found the artifact, but those people who stole the fake one are still out there." Eleanor's expression darkened. "They'll come for this one too. But now that you've proven yourselves, the Order will protect you, and together we'll ensure this artifact never falls into the wrong hands." The Harpers returned home, exhausted but strangely united. The experience had brought them closer together, even as it had exposed cracks in their relationships. They'd argued, laughed, and faced danger as a family, and they'd come out stronger for it. As they sat around the dinner table that night, Jake raised his glass. "To the Harpers, the most dysfunctional, badass secret society members in history." The family laughed, clinking their glasses together. But as the laughter faded, Mark's expression grew serious. "This isn't over, is it?" he asked, looking at Eleanor. She shook her head. "The Order's work is never done. But for now, you've done your part. The rest is up to us." As Eleanor left, the Harpers sat in silence, each lost in their thoughts. They didn't know what the future held, but they knew one thing. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. Months later, life returned to normal as it could be for a family who'd uncovered ancient secrets and faced down danger. The artifact was safely hidden away, and the Harpers had settled back into their routines. But one evening, as Mia was cleaning out her backpack, she found something strange. A small, folded piece of paper with the Triandrut symbol on it. Inside was a single sentence. The roots run deeper than you know. Mia stared at the note, her heart racing. She thought about showing it to her family, but something stopped her. Maybe it was nothing, or maybe the adventure wasn't over after all. She tucked the note into her pocket, a small smile playing on her lips. Whatever came next, she was ready.